the neutrality fallacy. In argumentation, it's very common to hear the point made that we should all try to be unbiased and come to a situation where we are on neutral ground and then weigh evidences of one worldview against another. And there is a surface validity to that. I think it's better to put it as impartiality, in that we recognize we all have a tendency toward bias. We all have a tendency to think we're right. Hopefully we don't think we're always right, but to think at all, you have to think that you're right. And then we all have a tendency to try to be the judge in our own cause, and we are subject to confirmation bias, that we can, because of our presuppositions, look at the same evidence and come to different conclusions, or we cherry pick evidence, and we know that this tendency exists in others and in ourselves. And so often there is the argument that we should meet on the ground of neutrality. But this is logically self-defeating. Neutrality is impossible because of two reasons that have to be assumed when neutrality is espoused as the right starting point. Number one, if neutrality is the right standing point, then it admits that the worldview you are trying to defend is wrong and that neutrality is the right worldview. So if you're trying to defend one worldview and you admit, well, actually the better way to start from this, the ultimate authority is starting from a neutral starting point, then you have admitted that your worldview, which you are seeking to defend, is wrong because you have given it up for the ultimate authority of neutrality. Neutrality is then the right worldview. And if you say, no, my worldview is right, I'm just saying neutrality is an area of argument, then the second problem with neutrality, if you are not giving up the correctness of a worldview in order to get onto neutrality, which is admitting that your worldview is wrong, then the opposite is true. If your worldview is correct, then neutrality is wrong. If your worldview is correct, then why would you want to move to a position other than your worldview, whether that position is neutrality or anything else? Now, there's other questions of how do you know your worldview is true? That's another matter. But neutrality is a self-defeating idea, because if neutrality is right, then the worldview you claim is wrong. And if the worldview you claim is right, then neutrality is wrong. And therefore, neutrality cannot be an epistemological starting point or ultimate authority for any type of philosophical discussion.